What's your pep level on a scale of 1 to pep?
That's my pep level. Fired up, bud.
You're fired up?
Yeah.
Boardroom Game Cafe, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Jeff told me I look like I'm going on a safari because I'm wearing brown on brown.
You do look like a Disney character.
Jungle Cruise?
Yeah, like you look like the people on Jungle Cruise.
The back side of water.
Not character, you know what I mean. What are they called?
Cast member.
Cast member, thank you.
I wish. Disney,
would you love to work at Disney?
Probably, unless it would ruin the magic. I'm sure there's people that watch that work at Disney and they're like,
you don't want to.
Because I used to work with people that also worked at Disney.
Right.
The riggers.
Yeah.
And they said that ruined the magic. So maybe I don't want to. I'd like to work in the offices. Hello everyone and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games
and
board gamey things.
Exactly, such as the Boardroom Game Cafe. We'll talk about them more at the end.
I really want one of those new mugs.
Me too. Cat,
we
really want the blue mugs. Just saying. We are here today with another board game Snapshots. Exactly. Oh my god, was that mid-yawn the first one?
No.
Baja. So
no, I just wasn't ready. I completely forgot that that's a thing we did.
That's a thing we do.
Yeah.
That means we are doing 5 mini board game reviews. Okay?
Did you clean this?
It
It looks way cleaner than normal.
I didn't. The first game that we have on the list for today is going to be Pickup Artist, a competitive dating sim. Now, this game is self-published, and the publishers, the lovely designers of this game, are actually sponsoring this portion of the video, so this game will be presented to you more as a preview rather than a review. Yeah. So Pickup Artist, a competitive dating sim, is going to be coming to you soon. So what we're going to do is, we don't have an exact date, is we're going to put all of the information down below. There's a whole website. You can check it out, follow along, all that good stuff. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so from here on out, we're just going to call it Pickup Artist because Pickup Artist, a competitive dating sim game, is just too much to say.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. Now, in this game, you are acting as somebody who is looking to get a date. And
to gain the affection.
To gain the affection of your date. There are a ton of different characters within this game. Like, there is a stack. And essentially, everybody who's playing the game, you could play it between 2 and 4 players, is going to be going out on a mission to gain the affection of the same person, at least in one of the game modes. There are many game modes.
Yeah.
And the one that we have played, that is what we were doing. We were competing for the love of a cat.
Yeah.
It was very cute. Anyways.
I was filtering through trying to figure out which one to use, and I was like, there's a cat. There's no way we're not.
There's a cat. So the game itself is very simple.
Very simple.
Very simple. On your turn, what you are going to be doing is you're going to be rolling some dice. And that dice is going to tell you how far you can move. Each spot that you land on has different iconography that will then, once again, tell you what to do. Maybe it's gain an event. And then you can read through the event and see what you do. Perhaps you are gaining a certain level of charm or something that can eventually lead you to a perk.
Basically boosting your perks. Yeah. Boosting your attributes.
Your attributes, so that your personality is ready for when you try and woo your date.
Because all of the characters have certain attributes that they are interested in.
Yes. So once again, in the mode that we played, the person or the cat that you are pursuing is going to be in a certain location. If you get to that location within the round, you then make a roll of the die that is going to tell you which of the 3 attributes that it's looking for that you need to impress it with.
It's an affection roll.
It's an affection roll, and you need to have that many, and what you can do is roll another 6-sided die, which is going to kind of elevate that for you. So as an example, if the cat is really into like a romance, which has like a little rose or charm, then you're going to roll your die and look at your little scale that tells you how much of that you have. And if you have enough, you've wooed.
So each character has basically the rounds work. There's 5 rounds for each day of the week. And as the week progresses, it's going to be more and more difficult. The affection level that you have to reach the threshold will increase depending on the day of the week. So it gets a little bit more difficult on like Sunday, for example, to win the affection of the person you're looking to.
And then every day, that person or the cat is going to move locations. It's going to tell you where they're going to be the next day. So then you have to kind of move your way through the board, once again, getting back to whoever you are trying to woo. I like to say woo.
It's also interesting because like when you land on a section of the map, it's basically you start in the quad, and then it's almost like a kind of like a campus.
Yeah.
And you're going to move around, and actually when you land on a space and take the action of that space, you actually put a token in, and that space can no longer be used for the rest of the game. It can be, you can walk over it, you can land on it, but you're not going to get the benefit of landing on it. Yeah. So it's kind of a bit of a puzzle of moving around appropriately in order to take as many actions as you can.
Exactly. And there's also a couple of end of game objectives, but they are hidden. So you actually don't know whether or not you've achieved them, and you reveal them at the end. Now, basically what you're doing is you are trying to get your little heart meter all the way up to the top because you're looking to score as many points as possible.
It's definitely a race for points.
It's a race for points.
And the more times you successfully roll for affection on the cat, in this instance, the more victory points you're going to have at the end.
Exactly. Now, each of the characters also has a slightly asymmetric, like, special thing that they're able to do. Each of the characters that you can play or woo or whatever, you can also flip as well. So there is a female side and there is a male side. On the cat, there is a cat side, and then a female side that is kind of like dressed up as a cat.
Yeah, almost like a furry.
Yes. I would say that this game, it is 14 plus, and there is a reason for that. Some of the characters are a little bit chesty, so I would not recommend for children. And also it's a dating game, so also maybe not really an appropriate theme for children. And basically, so the game is roll and move, and then do some events at the end of the day. It's very simple. It could be a great intro game. The art style is very like Archie, Josie and the Pussycats-esque. Like, that's the type of art. So if you're into that, very colorful, very light, and fun.
Yeah, it's a very niche thing.
Yes.
It's going to be for a very niche group of people that are into this kind of theme, but it's very, very lightweight. Very, if you're into this theme, very good way to get into board games.
Yes. We agreed that it would actually be a great kind of game to have at a place like the Boardroom Game Cafe, because it's very easy to learn. You can just get it on the table and start playing almost immediately. So that is Pickup Artist, a competitive dating sim game. All of the information will be in the description below. If you're interested in checking it out, please feel free to do so. The next game on our list is a game that was sent to us for review from Bezier Games, and here's the rule book.
We can't find the game.
We can't find the game.
We thought it was down here.
We thought it was down here, so it's definitely probably upstairs somewhere. So many of you know, you may know, that we have been big fans and big proponents of a little game called Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
And Scram is like Silver Bullet, but for teams. It plays extremely similarly to that. So basically, everybody around the table, if you have 4 players, it'd be 2v2, whatever it might be. You're playing on teams. There's going to be Team A and Team B. On your turn, you are going to be doing one of a few things. You are either going to be drawing a card from the deck, taking a peek at it, and you're either going to be replacing one of your cards in your campsite, not your village, in your campsite of face-down cards. You can replace a card, or you can discard it to do the action. Sound familiar? Or you can say Scram, which gives all the other players one last chance to do something. And essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to have the least amount of points in your campsite, just like in Silver Bullet. So the theming obviously on this is much different because it is like critters and a campsite and all of that good stuff. And you are just trying to, essentially the theme is you're trying to have the cleanest campsite. So some of the cards have different actions on them. And if you discard it, then you can do that action, which might allow you to like peek at your cards or peek at somebody else's cards or do a little bit of rearranging or whatever it might be. What's really cool though, just like in Silver Bullet, you can discard multiple matching cards. So let's say I had 3 threes and I drew a card and I wanted to get rid of something to put that card down. You could get rid of all of those cards, but in this, you can do that with your teammates. Because hopefully, like I said, you're trying to have the least amount of points. So you're trying to help your teammates without knowing really what they have to also get the lowest amount of points.
Sounds like Silver Bullet to me.
It sounds like Silver Bullet, and we're big fans of Silver Bullet. So what I have heard, though, from other people is that they enjoy this a lot more than Silver Bullet because of, like, the cooperative team nature. It's definitely more, like...
Party.
It's more party-esque. Yeah. It's more interactive. You know,
Yeah.
we like to play Silver Bullet personally because...
Love Silver Bullet.
Sure, because it's really mean, and we can, like, affect each other. But this one is kind of, like... a group effort of being mean to other people. But you have your little team.
Jointly mean.
Jointly mean. And it's really, really cool, super fun. So if you are looking for a co-op party variation of Silver Bullet, Scram. Look no further.
Scram out to get Scram.
Scram out to get Scram. And it is going to be on sale soon. I believe that they will have this at Gen Con. So definitely keep your eye out for it if you're at Gen Con and you're interested. It's a great little travel size game that you could play with your friends. All right, Jeff, would you like to tell the people a little bit about Ring Circus?
Sure. Ring Circus was sent to us from Devir Games in 3 weeks. In 3 Ring, I'm going to say wing, a bunch.
Yep, I bet.
In Ring Circus, you are doing exactly what you would think you are doing. Building out a circus. In Ring Circus, there's kind of 2 things that are happening. You have your tableau in front of you, which you are going to be basically recruiting and paying for different talented people to join. Either it could be an animal type, it could be a trapeze artist, it could be a magician, it could be all of these things.
Clown. On
top of that, you have a shared board that is going to work via area control. So at certain player counts, the board either gets bigger or smaller. In a 2-player, the board is actually a bit tighter. And you're going to be manipulating around these cities in order to perform circuses.
Yes.
When you perform a show in one of those areas, you put your little circus tent meeple on the area, and that show has been completed. You're going to score points based off of
whoever has the most in that region.
Whoever has the most in that region, because at the same time during this entire game, is it Barnum? The Barnum Circus is actually kind of ripping around on the map as well.
They're the big guys.
They're the big guys, and they're actually kind of just like a timer mechanic of the game. So they will move around. Once they get to a major city of each region, so each region has major cities. When they reach that major city, you're going to score the region's area control piece. Whoever has the most will score victory points. Again, high level overview of this game. There's a bunch of different little nuanced things that exist in it, but that's basically the premise. What's really interesting with the tableau is they all have to go in ascending order. So as you're putting out performers in your tableau, you are manipulating them around because, again, the ascending order thing matters. You can score bonuses based off of where you put performers on your tableau. There's also bonus abilities if you complete columns. And all of these little, like, combo-y type things that you can do in this game. It's very colorful. It's traditional Devir, small box.
Big game.
Pretty easy to set up and play. And just a ton of depth of strategy.
Yeah.
They've really perfected that art, and they've done it in this game. And honestly, like, this theme was very enjoyable.
Yes, I freaking love this game. This is a game that does area control really well at 2 players. It can be played solo. Haven't played it solo yet. We've only played it at 2. But definitely, like, area control is not something easy to do successfully for 2 players. This did it very successfully, in my opinion. It's also really cool because, like Jeff said, everything combos off of each other, but there's also these micro decisions that you have to make, because if you play a card out, you might be covering up one of your movement spaces, meaning that you don't get to move as much, or that you don't gain as much money, or you know, whatever it might be. There's also different objectives that you're trying to achieve to score more points by the end of the game. And the game itself at 2 players went very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it goes pretty quickly, and you're like, wow, this is a lot of game, a super fun experience, beautiful. This will be available at Gen Con if you'd like to check it out. I think it's going to be on sale at Gen Con, but for sure, like, I'm sure they'll have like a demo probably in Hot Games Room or something like that. Next game on our list is Battle of Britain. Undaunted, Battle of Britain. Jeffrey.
As Jamie mentioned, Battle of Britain is the next iteration in the Undaunted series, and it follows a similar mechanisms of all of the others. So basically, it is a deck builder skirmish game where you are building up your deck of cards in order to take actions on the board. We've only played one scenario of this game, so all of the scenarios are different, so objectives change and that sort of thing. But the one we played, it was basically a dogfight. So Battle of Britain has taken the Undaunted series and brought it to the skies.
Brought it to the big screen.
Brought it to the skies above Britain, and you are basically fighting in air battles. They've actually developed a really, really good way in order to mimic the feeling of flying planes. And it's really hard to explain what I mean by that, but basically...
You're not getting anywhere quick.
You're not getting anywhere quick, and what happens is, like, just with the terms, because they've added a movement mechanic as well as a maneuver mechanic in this, and maneuver is basically slightly changing the direction that your plane is going in, because thematically and in real life, planes can't turn on a dime. At least not these planes.
They're from long ago.
You also, when you're maneuvering, you have to move a space to maneuver. So you can't maneuver in space because planes can't do that. So basically what ends up happening with this maneuver mechanic and this movement mechanic is you'll go in for a run of a shot at someone else, and then it's going to take you a couple turns, depending on the plane type. A bomber is going to turn much slower than a fighter. And so you actually have to spend a couple turns maneuvering your plane back around, and maybe you can't get back at the plane you just shot right away. You kind of it's so strategic.
There's also a grouping mechanism in this where, like, if you break off from your grouping, your squad of planes, then you can't communicate, you can't do these different things. So, like, very like thematic in that way. Like, there's certain actions that you can't do if you've broken off from your group.
For those that have played the Undaunted series, it's very similar to the Fog of War mechanic. So you're basically, if that happens, you're putting dead cards into your hand. So you can branch off from your squad, but you can't communicate. And every time you do certain actions, you're going to have to put dead cards in your hand, basically. So there is also the requirement to stay in tight formation, which is thematic to fighter pilots and fighter squadrons that existed during this time.
Because you go as a team, as a squad. And
again, basically in this game, you're just trying to complete an objective. It might be destroy enemy squadron X,
control
bomb.
This.
There's bombing mechanics. There's any aircraft abilities that happen in later scenarios. Maybe you have to bomb a city. Again, theme might be a tough one for some people. It is a war theme, and I understand a lot of people struggle with that, so take that into consideration. For those that like the Undaunted series, I do think you will like this. It's just more of that game and added a couple different awesome little mechanics to it. It's Undaunted with planes.
And this was sent to us for review from Osprey, so I think we forgot to mention that at the beginning. But I really like this. I still prefer Normandy. So the only ones that we own so far are Normandy, Battle of Britain, and Stalingrad, which we haven't played Stalingrad. It's a campaign version. If I had to pick between the two, I'm going Normandy because there's just something... there was something a bit more tactile. I found the maneuver, like, very thematic, very good, but at the same time, I was like, I just want to get over here. So you have to, like, move, maneuver. So my preference is Normandy. I feel like you prefer Battle of Britain.
Battle of Britain's much more strategic.
Yeah, I just like
it requires much more planning than Normandy does. Because of that maneuver mechanic. Now, granted, we've only played one scenario of Battle of Britain, so maybe that changes, but again, like, the planes back then weren't like fighter jets now that can turn on a dime. But I feel you. I do prefer Battle of Britain, but again, it's just, I do enjoy that, like, I gotta run in for a shot.
Strategy.
I gotta run in for a shot, and then I gotta figure out what my next maneuver is
I'm more of a just get in there and cause some chaos.
Shoot 'em up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last game we want to talk about today is an oldie but a goodie, and that is Grand Austria Hotel. This is from Lookout Games, and this is actually, we wanted to play this for a long time.
It took us a very long time.
It took us a very long time. It's one of our brothers' Murphs, or brothers from another mother.
Yep.
The Mother's Birth. One of their favorite games, and so we've just been really dying to play it, and we finally got a copy. Got it to...
Took a long time.
I think, so basically in this game you are running a hotel, and you have to ensure that there are rooms open in order for your guests. You are also like have this kind of cafe, and you have to make sure that you've got the things that you can like feed your guests so that they're satisfied, and then they go to their room, and you're trying to also like fill out the rooms which have different colors, and you're like, oh, if I get this block of colors and if I get this row, and it's going to give you extra points. Basically how it works is you are going to be rolling out some dice, and then you're going to be placing them on the different actions, and based on the dice that are on those actions, it shows how strong the action is, and it also is how you're choosing your action. So I might go and I might pull a die, and then suddenly Jeff can't do that thing.
Yeah, because it depends on how many dice are in that action selection space.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you're going to be going through doing your actions, trying to optimize the best that you can to satisfy as many guests as you can, to get them into the rooms to score as many points as you can. There's a few things that I wanted to say about this. Number one, it was so much different than I expected it to be. Sure. It was so much easier than I expected it to be.
Easier in terms of like getting it played.
Easier in terms of learning. Yeah. I thought this game was going to be like super heavy. You know, it does have the expert. Now, keep in mind that we play a lot of games, so it was easy for us to learn, but for somebody new to the hobby, it would not be. But I was just expecting something different, and I was so pleasantly surprised. Like, I freaking love this game. This is one of those games that we put on the table and you play a few rounds and we're already like, I love this game. I love this game.
It's very combo-y.
It's very combo-y, which I love. Makes my brain very happy. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I was the one that ended up learning it, and
which at first he's like, I can't do this, but then he did it.
Yeah, just to echo Jamie's, it's one of those things where you read the rule book and it's like, oh man, there's so much stuff in here, but like, it's just stuff that like iconography and stuff that you need to figure out. But like at the core of it, it's pretty simple. It's, you know, one of like 2 or 3 actions if I remember right, and it's very simple. I really like that, like, you have to decide between, am I gonna like feed a bunch of guests and just like throw them into rooms as sporadically as I can, or do I want to be strategic so like I'm getting the clusters of color rooms done together? I don't know if I'd want to play it at anything above 2.
No, I don't know.
I think it's a very, 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 very good 2-player game, and one that I'm very excited to return to. Yeah.
Same. Very excited. So, those are 5 more games that we have been playing recently and what we think about them. How about them apples? Okay? What do you think about them? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to know. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're interested in buying board games like any of the many we mentioned today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that is
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
The Boardroom Game Cafe. They have shirts. They've got mugs. And we would love to have the blue mug.
This is what Jamie's doing right now. It's like the news anchors. They're like, see you at 5.
I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Like
that's
politicians.
Who?
When they do their little like...
Oh, politicians. I thought you said
photos.
Politicians. Like that was a person. I'm like, who's politicians?
I've never heard of politicians.
Do you like snacks?
I do.
Perfect. Where should you find them?
Punchback.
Exactly. Snacks from around the world. You'll love to see it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
Later it is.
Disney? You in? Or I could be a Disney content creator. Did you guys watch that?
Work for Disney. Work for Disney remote.
Yeah. For
just
Disney.
Go down like
every week, I guess.
Yeah, every couple weeks.
Every couple days, maybe.
I thought you paused for me. I was like, what?
I thought you were going to try and interrupt me. Okay.
Now I'm over it.
Hello
everyone, and welcome back.
Every time we hit this, the camera's moving.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But now if I hit it. Nothing. Now the first video, the first game that we have, I have a hair in my mouth. Good Lord.
Unprepared.
Unprepared. I forgot. I don't know where this game is.
Do you need me to go find it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little box. It's this size.
Do you know, like, roughly where? Is it upstairs? Is it down here?
I think it's down here. I think it's down here because I think I brought it down to play. If I were a game... Jeff's on a mission. On a mission for ammunition. Find it?